I'm hot.
Yeah.
But not from having a flash.
Yeah.
I'm hot because it's hot in where I live here outside of San Francisco, which is just a funny little place because we get all of these erratic temperatures where it'll be like today's Friday and Wednesday was 65 degrees and then yesterday was 70 and today is 97.
That is insane. In fact, like we have erratic weather-ish, but generally speaking, it's the temperature itself is consistent-ish, but generally speaking, but the weather is, all over the place with it. And of course, this happened last year with you. It was just like so hot all of the time from about literally your summer. Mm.
Well, also like it should be noted that I torture myself because I think we're finally getting closer to doing this like elusive remodel of some parts of our home. So, we don't have this thing called air conditioning. So this would be a lot different. I just, I'm a little glutton for punishment. So we've waited to get this because in all fairness, when we did buy our home and we did move here, there was probably like 10 days out of the year that were like scorching. And then now there's more than 10 days. And now it's just like one of those things where you're working from your home and you're here and it's just, it really does make it feel like you just can't really think straight.
But, in our house, we've got like the upstairs, all the heat travels upstairs. It's insulated, double glazed windows. And it's similar to you. We get to this point where like, do we just need an aircon up here? Like a heat pump that does cold as well. Mm-hmm. And then by the time we start being serious about it, the weather shifts and we're like, it's a bit cooler now. We can do it. Got through another year without spending $3,000. I'm happy with that.
I mean, here it's $15,000. So it's like, it's not a cheap investment. And, but one that would make a big difference for our quality of life. But you're absolutely right. It is really funny because it's kind of like a hunger pain. Once you've like eaten something, you're like, I'm fine now. Like, I'm not hungry
what even
anymore.
Was
like, what even was that? Like, it feels like that. I always think that Snickers commercial. I don't know if you had it in New Zealand, but it was like, here, eat the Snickers bar, which is so stupid. But like, as soon as they eat Snickers bar, they're like,
I know.
And they have a little bit of like chocolate and blood sugar or whatever that is. I'm like, oh, great. Now you're calm. It's a genius marketing, actually. I want to say shout out to Snickers. Because we all bought stupid Snickers. Even Mikki and I did. Because
no, I didn't. No,
okay, you didn't. Fine. I like to put you sometimes in the category. You're like, you did. I did.
Yeah, I did not. Don't throw me under the bus.
But I thought about it. Yeah. How about that? Came in my head.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've got the woman in my head, actually. She was a dancer.
Yes.
When I'm hungry and I'm dancing, I eat a Snickers and then I can dance again. It picks me up. It takes care of my hunger pains. And she had that pause. She couldn't quite grasp what it was. Yeah. Oh, it's a hunger pain. That's what I had.
Right.
I'm like, of course it was a hunger pain. You're hungry. Yeah.
Duh.
Eat your Snickers, get back to dancing.
Yeah, because that's what it is. I always love that you call me at my bullshit, though. I love when even when I like, and it's always a great voice in my head. Because I was like, don't you bullshit yourself, Jessica. Don't tell yourself some narrative that is maybe not true. I always heard the voice in your back of my head with you being like, you can pick to have that, or you can pick to have this, which is going to do this for yourself anyways. But no judgment, but just don't tell yourself something different. That's what I'm always mindful of. So another reason why I'm appreciative of. I'll start with what I'm grateful for. You and the voice in my head. Call me on my bullshit. That's what I'm grateful for. I'm not grateful for transitions, though. I'm a person who sadly has a very hard time with, I'll just put it out there in hopes of maybe this will help. But I fall in the category of birthdays and graduations. We had one this week for my son, Jake. They're I hate to use the word sad because they're not sad, but they feel less sweet and more bitter.
Oh, there's just
right.
Yes.
So I've always really thought, I always think about that, and I'm grateful they exist. Like I'm happy that we have them because they're an opportunity to reflect. I just was that the dominant, I'll start there. Emotion wasn't, I need another word for sadness. I don't have the word, but put it this way. I don't feel elated. I don't feel excited, and I don't feel happy. My husband, Jeff, who's not here right now, thinks they're amazing. He actually even says that when you feel sad on your birthday, that's sad for me because if we didn't have a birthday, if you weren't celebrating a birthday, you wouldn't be on the earth.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So for him, it's like, and then same thing, he thinks it's so exciting. Like our son just finished 8th grade yesterday. And like, it's so great that Jake made it to this point. So to him, it's celebratory, and he's in this space, and we celebrate that, versus just sad that it went so fast. And so there's something here, which is why I always thought, and I think other people are going through that. It's a time of year of graduations and these transitions and these big changes. So I'm always curious to know. I know it's not super black and white. Like, what side do you stand on, Mikki? But I kind of, when I think about people, and I've asked this question before, it is amazing how you are kind of on one or the other. Like, you know,
yeah, so interesting.
Like, where are you?
Like,
or do you even think about it? Is this even something you think about?
Well, I do in some part. Like, when it comes to birthdays, I love birthdays. I love them. I absolutely am stoked to have a birthday, to still get a birthday, and then celebrate the year that was. Although I do, but that doesn't mean that I'm not like, whoa, where's that time gone? Because that often I feel that too, but it's more of this almost surreal, like, wow, is a year gone? But I do get a bit perplexed actually with all of the graduations, and almost like, I mean, I'm all for celebration. I'm not sure how this is going to sound or how this will land, but do we have to have a graduation for every normal step in a child's sort of development? Like, I understand, like I sense, I understand that sadness of you know, the time that's passed that will never be gotten back. And I understand the celebration of an end of an era. And of course, moving from middle school to high school, is that where Jake's?
Yes, Jake just finished middle school.
I mean, that is exciting. But I can't remember I think when we finished middle school or intermediate school here, it was a bit joyous. I mean, we were sad to leave our teachers, but there was no sort of like graduation as such, I guess. But it is, I can understand why people have that bittersweet of an end of an era, but also excitement and celebrating what's to come and also what's gone. Like,
yes, maybe, and maybe you just said it. Maybe the excitement is what's to come, but maybe there's sadness in, you know, what is gone, or, you know, what we already finished or what happened. But I really do like to, half of the part of discussions and conversations is to find some root of it all. You know what I mean? Where does it stem from? In some ways, is it the disruption of the balance? You know, because when something ends, there's the transition, there's the like kind of the change of it, the rockiness of it, the imbalance of it. And I think, to me, that part is hard. Also, the expectation is challenging for me. I still fall a little prey. I think birthdays do this too. Like, there's some kind of thing at some point in your life that there's a box of things we should be checking. I'm just so trying, because like, I'm like, wouldn't it be so easy? We just had a manual of all the things we're supposed to check it every year. But I'm really, I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm hopeful for anybody like me that they can be more present in what is to come and excited about what is to come versus, you know, what's already happened, because it already happened.
Okay,
but I
so
tend
you're
to
sort
be
of
in that space a little bit,
yes,
you know.
And I'm hearing you like the whole, you know, what society expects us to have achieved at a certain point in time. Like, for example, with birthdays, you know, if you hit 40, you're supposed to have hit, you know, done all of these things. Or I'm not sure that was necessarily an expectation. These expectations that, I think when you're younger, there feels more expectations. Like, you know, by the time you're 30, when we were growing up, you know, if you weren't married, you were sort of late to the party, or you hadn't had children, if you were to have children, you'd be slightly older. Whereas I feel like those expectations, I don't feel that they're there as much anymore. But I wonder, are these the types of things you're thinking of, Jess? Like, oh, at this point in my life, I should have, I don't know, whatever kind of, I don't know what your neighborhood is like actually. Like, are there
competitive.
Yeah.
Your neighborhood, if you allow yourself, this neighborhood is beautiful and wonderful, but it can also be, it can be exactly what we're talking about. It can be all of the measures of whatever. But like, even as I say this, I'm like, oh gosh, external measures are so boring. You know what I mean? Too, because I'm always like, those are just things. We create an environment, and even our podcast, to actually talk about internal measures. You know what I mean? Like, what are the things that are actually driving you? What is your intention?
What's important?
What is important? What really drives you? Like the honest conversation, the honest thing inside of yourself. I just, I really find this point in life and this period of time interesting, because it gnaws at me a little bit with that. I almost like count the days down and get anxious, like, oh gosh, Thursday's one day away, to his graduation, or now we're here. And I would just, I feel like if I could let go a little bit more and just release myself, almost really, Mikki, what if I was to, now that I'm thinking about it, and like for the people in my case, maybe it's the thing that we need to practice, just almost doing the opposite of what we normally do. I hold on really tight to the days, moments in the lead up. Maybe I should just practice letting go. Or here, I'll just show up and see what it looks like, and just show up into this space a little bit more carefree, almost. A little bit more open to where it could go, versus sort of walking in and already being at a deficit. Like I'm walking into this graduation, this environment, not enough.
Yeah. Is this a you thing, or is it what you're waiting? Like, because I'm hearing a couple of things, and I'm wondering whether the fact that you're a parent and I'm a step parent, it's just, and it is different, and it's different because I came into our my stepchildren's lives as they were already at certain points, so I haven't been there the whole way through. And of course, I wonder, I bet any parent listening to this, Jess, is absolutely going to understand the feelings that you get, the mixed emotions of seeing your babies continue to grow. And because it blows my mind how quickly Finley and Honey have like grown up into almost, Honey is an adult and Finley's getting there. But this is at a very short period of time that I've really been in their lives. I guess with Finley, it's been half its life, but whereas you've just been there the whole time, and the relationship with the parents change as kids get older too. Like, instead of you being their most, that they lean on you as much as they do, they start to be more independent. They start to turn to their friend groups for more of that influence. Is part of this? Is this part of the emotion? Is this anything that you think about? Just,
and it's so great that you're bringing it up, because I think even as for parents and step parents too, it's all very subconscious, I'm glad you're saying it, because I don't even know that sometimes you have these, you want to make sense of the emotion, right? Like, and I think I'm trying to make sense of the emotion, but yes, I definitely think that all of a sudden, and it's not really all of a sudden, it's a long buildup. If we're being honest with ourselves, like it does give us time. We do transition in, just like as the graduation is the date and it's that moment, but there was a lot of moments leading up to that moment. But I do think, you're not 100% sure what your role is. You're trying on the outfit and running in the new running shoes and seeing how the mile is going to feel in a new pair of Nikes versus Asics or Hokas. It's kind of like, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm like trying on different pairs of new shoes, because this is a new place to be. And I haven't been in these shoes, no pun intended. And I'm just trying to get comfortable in them. And you can relate, a parent, a step parent, anybody who's been in that role. It's you. Sometimes there's roles you like better, right? Sometimes there's moments you just prefer. So how do you respond in times that just feel a little uncomfortable? How do you get to the next mile in a shoe that maybe feels a little tight? Look at me and my ridiculous amount of metaphors. Here I am. Thank you for allowing me to speak in a lot of metaphors tonight, but some days it's just the easiest way to describe it. I am working on letting go of where I think I should be, because I've never been here. So why is there a should in the place I've never been? I've never been in this place before.
So that's the other thing that I was going to say, is that I hear the one thing which I described, but why are you not enough here?
Oh,
what is that about? Yeah,
because you should ask that one more time. You just asked me, why are you not, say it again. That was
why
good.
are you not enough? I don't understand that part of it. So why does this relate to you and what you bring to it? Because you've said a couple of times, I'm not enough for this. And I'm like, we're not talking. I didn't think that that's what we were talking about. But obviously this is another underlying thing that maybe you're not, I don't know.
Oh, that's good, Mix.
Did you mean to say that?
You just went right in there. A little tear might be shed. Oh. Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. No, it's good. That's kind of like one of those things where you do you 100% feel that. Yeah. It's such a beautiful question, actually. I have to kind of sit with that for a second, because it's, I'm not sure why I would think that. I think I think you just assume it. Somehow you assume, well, me. I always say me in hopes that by sharing my space, there are plenty of other me's that are like, oh, it's me too. Right.
Yeah.
I think anytime I listen to somebody's story, there's a little bit of my story in their story, and a little bit of their story in mine. And so I think it's just an automatic response of hoping that you're enough for yourself, and that you're enough for your child and whomever you're serving. I think about this in many ways, but I think it's particularly strong because there's such an intensity around parenting, and there's such an intensity around child rearing, and there's such an intensity around these big moments. And you can make them as big as you want to, Mix, but we'll just call it what that is.
Yeah, sure.
Can illuminate maybe things that you're proud of, or that you're struggling with, or maybe you're not even believing that you're struggling with something, but you're just, you think where you are somehow is not enough, or you should be in this place. I've always dreamed, and maybe I should just start now, like, wow, I did the absolute best that I could, and I feel really good about that best, today, whatever that is. Like,
that would be such an amazing narrative to go through the summer with. Gosh. You said it so, so easily. So it's there, and you know, but isn't it interesting how these other default narratives come into our mind? That,
oh my God, the default narrative is like really loud.
I know.
Like the default narrative. It's 100% best way to put it. We are in default, a lot of default narratives. We immediately say them. We're not strong enough. We're not, our bodies look this way. Our success is really that's
I'm not good enough. I'm stupid, and all of it.
There's just a lot. You don't really walk in and be like, they really showed up in the absolute, most intentional, authentic way in this moment. And funny because, I talk a lot about this, but this podcast and this the conversations we have, I really show up exactly as I am, where I am in this moment. Right. So it's a nice, I know I can. Maybe I just have to remind myself that I am doing it in these other areas too. And to maybe take a little bit of the pressure and the weight off of the moment. Let the moment just be the moment. Like, we're there, our presence. I'm a big show up kind of person.
I know this.
That's a values
I know this
type
about
of
you.
thing for me.
And the thing is, with anything with default narratives, it just takes time to, you've got to be it till you see it. It's not fake it till you make it, isn't it? It's be it till you see it. And it's just always going to be a work on for almost everyone. Like, to believe that you are enough when you walk into the room, when you show up at that, I don't know, presentation, or you show up for your clients, or you're on Instagram Live, all of that stuff. Like, you just have to, but it's not like you can just go, oh, I'm gonna, back myself now. It's like every day you have to do something that puts you in that space. That's what I love. 100%. I love listening to podcasts of business owners and athletes, and you're the same as well. I know. You just get this. It's exciting. It's this is a different way of thinking about things, and I get really inspired by it. which is, of course, a
do
topic for
transitions trigger you the way that they do a little bit of that to me? Or is that triggering default narratives? Do you go into like, or they're just like, great, cool, this is, we're having this big event? I mean, does it do anything to you? Does it kind of elicit something, or is it just like, great, cool, we're going to go do, the graduation, or here's the birthday, or like, is there anything that kind of swims around for you in your nervous system?
Not in a, like, of course I feel reflective, and I feel, depending on what it is, it's totally dependent on what it is, like I get excited for birthdays, but I also get reflective of what the last year has been, and the same with Christmas, and like at all points I'm thinking about things like that. So I don't have there's not a particular way, I don't think. So I can't give you my definitive answer, because I think depending on what it is, depends on how I'm going to feel about it.
Well, so that's so interesting, because so in a way you're just more open in these kind of experiences. I think I have a tendency when it comes to graduations or birthdays, or I'm just thinking of like big events, I have a default narrative, which says I should have done more prior to this event. That's my default narrative almost 99% of the time. So that's kind of the full circle thing that I came to. You're like, I'm just going to enter in, like, however this looks like today, right? Have I had enough protein? Am I like in a good headspace? Let's do the thing. And for me, the buildup is real. So no matter how much sleep and how much protein and how good my hair looks, or how on top of it and prepared I've been physically or mentally or spiritually, I still don't feel enough. Those lead ups make me feel like I'm nervous about the day, because the day holds a power that I've probably given it that maybe it didn't need to have in the first place. Like I'd love to like reverse engineer that default narrative on the days leading up to this thing, so that I can just be like a little more free to experience them.
You need to listen to it. So, well, first of all, I'll say I never wonder if I've had enough protein, because I almost always do. It's just not something I think about, to be honest. But you should listen to.
That's free. Did you wonder if we all aim to be Mikki, to literally be at the end of their day and be like, I have not, that is one fear and worry and off my plate.
Yeah, do not have to worry about that. Brene Brown, you need to listen to her on Tim Ferriss. You need a bit of Brene Brown love. And
she's one of my favorites.
And you need exposure every day to that kind of thinking, don't you?
True.
Not you, but universal you.
No, 100%. Universal you. That is a wonderful way to put it. Exposure is another great word. You do use two really good concepts today. Default narratives. What are our default narratives when we enter into situations? I think it is super important. In fact, we started this whole conversation with like, what we're grateful for. And I was like, Mikki doesn't take my bullshit. Like we're each other's bullshit. And by the way, she doesn't take, the same goes for vice versa. There's some things I've called her onto. You're like, I get it. All right, fine. But you have to have the people that are just like, I am here and love you up and support you. And if you want to go down with that thought process, that's fine. But I'm here to also remind you of this thought and this process that you can take too. And so the default narrative thing, I think, is also kind of in line with that. Like, it's not that it's easy to shift the narrative, but just remember there's another one there for you too. If you don't want the one that you're wearing all the time in these particular cases, there's another one that you can, go to. And then I think the way you get to the one that might serve you better is exposure, which I'm not 100% sure how to do that necessarily, but I think but it's a great concept. I'm trying to think of like
exposure therapy. So what it is, it's and this is, I'm using it in a way that is not the scientific way. I'm just literally thinking,
we're not being scientific here.
You just need to get yourself in front of, and like, in science, exposure therapy is used to help alleviate sort of fears, like illogical fears, like fears of spiders and heights and stuff. And there's a very sort of step-by-step process with which to do it. But I'm literally talking about exposure therapy to me in terms of these conversations are like, you need to get yourself in front of information that tells you how to do it differently, that it shows you how to do it differently. That's why I said Brene Brown on a podcast, listening to her, by reading books around the idea that you're enough. Listening to Mel Robbins, if you're into Mel Robbins, to be fair, Mel's great. She's very black and white. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% on board with her, to be fair.
Same.
But that's fine. But stuff like that, like changing the way you think, literally requires like reading material that tells you how to do that. And there's this great book, and I talk about it all the time in my groups. And Jill got me onto it, and she may have said it in our legacy group as well, called the as if principle. You act as if you're already the person you want to be.
Book, but let's find
You don't need the book. I mean, the title tells you all you need to know.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean.
But it'd be good to listen to it, right? Like,
yeah,
right,
I absolutely would. But the first thing you should do is download that Brené Brown on Tim Ferriss, because she was amazing on that podcast.
The podcast was
Ferriss.
Tim Ferriss. Okay, right.
Yeah, do you know how he's a 4-hour body? 4-hour work week. Yeah, he's so good.
But it's a good reminder. I mean, this is always good to bring it back, because I would definitely say that Brené was the reason I wanted to be a podcaster. Do you know what I mean? Like, to have this. I mean, she was one of my beginning inspirations, because her work was just, and I think for a lot of people, but it was just different and it hit differently. I love to name things.
Yeah.
I think being able to name it allows you to understand it outside of yourself. And this was the whole point of this kind of these conversations, is that when you can name it, you can look at it like this, you know what I mean? Versus it just walking around kind of inside of you with nowhere to go. So I think giving it a place and being able to talk about it. And also, like, the moral of the story for all of us, whatever, also there has to be some level of enjoyment and joy in this whole thing. And when you're walking with the default expectation,
I know how miserable. I mean,
you're just a little bit, you're a little bit more weighted by it. And I know that I feel it. I wouldn't say that I'm like void of joy in the moment. I'm certainly like excited and proud. I still have all that, but it's also, there's also real estate that's being taken up by this lot of the default expectation, or the thing that you feel like you should be or do. And it's just like, well, let's move on. Let's figure it out. Let's do a different strategy.
Life is short.
I do need exposure therapy.
Yeah. Life is short. We can't spend our day. You cannot be weighed down by things which are just telling you it's just, you deserve to feel better than that.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're 100% right.
I know. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm about to feel a whole lot. I actually, I don't know what I'm going to feel, but in about half an hour, I'm going to be sitting in a movie theater watching Mission Impossible.
I mean,
can
we all just be really clear? One of my most favorite things to do, especially when it's blazing hot, is going to a cool air-conditioned theater, eat a little popcorn, and watch a movie, because it's pretty darn fantastic. I like malt balls too.
Oh, nice one. Well,
a little sweet and salty.
I love Tom Cruise. I really do. I've always loved him, and he's such an amazing actor. So we're going to go spend 3 hours sitting, and the weather is terrible here, so it's a perfect thing to do on a Saturday afternoon.
Well, that's so fun. I'm glad that you're taking a little moment to do that. Either that or a 6-hour run. So I'm glad you guys are going for a 3-hour movie. It's perfect. Give your feet a break. What are you grateful for today?
I am grateful that we have these conversations, because it gets me to understand more about where your head's at. And then you're able, and hopefully, at least, I think having these conversations get people thinking a bit differently. And I mean, what a privilege to be able to put this out there on the internet for that.
I could not agree more. I think it is a true privilege for people to have a place and a space to reorient their thinking. You are only, let me just remind everybody of this, we are only our thoughts. Yeah. So, if we can practice thinking differently, it's a really, really powerful position to be in. But I started with what I'm grateful for, which is always you, but it is particularly great to have somebody who can just call you on your stuff and still lovingly support you as they do. So thank you for being both of those things.
You are welcome, Jess. You enjoy. I hope you don't melt.
I'll send you the cute picture of Jake looking very cute in his
I would
graduation
love to see
outfit.
it. That'd be amazing.
Have fun watching Mission Impossible.
Thank you. Bye.